would then end up basically being subjected or potentially end up violating this policy by trying to serve only that small population, or specific population, I should say.
And so we still do have the religious exemption in Title V, which says that accommodations can show preference for individuals of their same religion if that's reasonably calculated to further their religious beliefs. So that religious exemption still exists in the code, and it has not been removed.
Can I follow up on that specifically? Thank you. And I'm actually glad that you brought up the religious exemption, because my understanding is it's not a real solid exemption. So it mentions that it's for people that are of the same religion or the same denomination. So that implies that you've got to go through a little bit of questioning to ask somebody if they're of the same denomination. As the organization, and some of our organizations are not denominational. So how does that really work out? How does somebody actually claim this exemption? Okay, but again, some of these religious organizations aren't a specific religion, and they accept people of any religion. So again, does that make them more vulnerable? And basically, because there's a difference between somebody's religion who is the organization versus somebody who is the client or the resident. So does that become problematic when you can't really make a connection with specific religions or a specific denomination between the organization and the client?
Yes, so the exemption is specific that it's for individuals of the same religion. So if that's not established, then that exemption doesn't apply to that situation.
Mr. Chair, and then we can, whatever. So one of the questions is if a biological male shows up at the biological female-only shelter, and under your proposed revisions, must that shelter now allow for biological males to sleep next to or use shower facilities at the women-only shelters if requested?
So if a transgender female arrives at a women's shelter and asks for services, and there is no other non-discriminatory reason to exclude that person, yes, must be included.
I'm new to a lot of this. So when you say transgender female, that is a biological male that now identifies as a transgender woman, correct?
It is an individual who identifies as a woman.
Okay. So this is hard because we want to protect everybody, and I don't want to exclude anybody. And I truly believe from my heart, if we could protect all the individuals, all, not just protected classes, right? We want everybody to be treated equally. But in my heart of hearts, through the chair, to Assemblymember Zolotel and Constant and Dunbar and Kennedy and Weddleton and LaFrance and Pete Peterson, I am begging you to protect me. So if I have to go into any sort of shelter as an all-women's shelter, and being a military veteran, I can tell you PTSD is real. And I just want everybody to think about, let's go back to the drawing board. Maybe we can come back at 8th of June, just to be able to come so where everybody has that protection and nobody's left out. So if that means that we have a facility down the road sooner than not, that we could put transgender women to protect them, that would be wonderful. But this moment, I am geared on protecting women who have been abused. And I find that it's telling that an entire section was left out, and it targeted one specific group.
But we have a very special case here, and I didn't hear really religion coming in. I heard a practical sense of people who operate a woman's shelter, or shelter with women who are traumatized by men, saying, this just won't work.
That for a specific instance, when you can continue to do that work and see if that opportunity arises and that happy medium is found, doesn't strike the right balance for me.
That item is approved 7-2.